Hey everyone, welcome to the Seeds of Success podcast, hosted by Dottie San Martin and myself, Orly Rivera. The show is your weekly dose of knowledge, insights, and actionable tips to transform centers into striking successes. Whether you're a seasoned industry professional or just stepping onto the lanes, we've got you covered. Dottie, I saw today that you were talking about knowing your surroundings, and I didn't quite know where you were going with this, so I'm going to let you take over from here and tell me what you want to talk about today.
Okay, well, let me just ask you this, Orly. Do you think you're tuned in? You think you're
tuned in?
What's going on in your community? What's going on in the world?
I do until my kids tell me a certain thing, and then they kind of make me feel like I'm not cool anymore. But for the most part, I do feel like I'm tuned in.
Yeah. Well, when you are in a business, especially in the entertainment business like we are, being able to capitalize and really be in the know of what's going on around you, both, nationally, locally, there's a lot of value in that, right? So I know for me, we just came out of the Final Four, right? So I'm located in San Antonio, Texas. So for weeks, all we heard about was the Final Four and what was going on and all these businesses that were doing special things for the Final Four. And then we've got, we had like a major golf event here, all these things that are going on locally that people are advertising. They're on the radio. They're doing specials at their businesses. So being able to kind of hop on and be aware of those things that are going on, you can do the same thing. You can draw that excitement into your facility as well, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Either by having, special nights that you're bringing in that particular crowd that's in town, or doing something special. Everybody is excited about an event that's coming in or event that's popular. Take advantage of that excitement that's in town and make sure that you're a part of that as well.
Yeah. And I think if you're wondering, well, how do I find these things out? I think, there's a lot of, your local chamber of commerce usually have like an events page.
Yeah.
Sometimes there's like a downtown, where I live, there's a chamber of commerce and there's a downtown association, and they're kind of a little bit different. But, and sometimes, you might think you're going to, I hear of all the big things, but sometimes you miss them. There's been times where I've seen like an artist that I like, a band, and I'm like, oh, there's their tour dates, and they just passed through like a week ago. And I'm like, oh, I didn't know, and you miss out on that. So yeah, knowing what's going on around you and just, what events are around. Yeah. Take advantage of that. Whether it's like a food event, like you said, maybe do something fun in your center. Hey, you're trying all the best food in San Antonio. Well, make sure to try some of the best food at one of the best bowling centers here in town. Like you could tie it into that or theme it around something. And yeah, I think there's always something going on. And one more quick one that I do is sometimes when I'm going to visit an area, whether we're going for vacation, I'll sometimes just search like events happening in such and such on this weekend. And you'll pull up all these things that you're like, oh, wow, I didn't like. Even sometimes there's smaller events rather than bigger events, but there's so many things going on. So yeah, that's just a quick way to even search in your own town that you might not know is going to happen.
Yeah, definitely check out, their social media, the city's social media pages. But in the larger demographics, I would certainly recommend that you become very familiar with the Conventions Bureau, the Visitors and Conventions Bureau, to make sure that when there are big events coming into your area, that you are making sure, those events that come in from out of town, people go to these conventions and seminars and stuff, and the coordinators are looking for places to have, activities, after hours activities, meet and greets and things like that. And you want your center to be top of mind for the people in charge of the visitors that are coming into the town. So create that relationship and make sure that your center is top of mind when they're looking for what they can do. It's a really great feeling, Orly, to see a few Greyhound buses pull up in your parking lot and unload, hundreds of people to come that are there in town for a convention, to have an activity at your center. It's a great feeling. It's great revenue.
Yeah. And I was going to say, I mentioned just a couple of minutes back about theming it. There's so many things. There was a time when, I would be up super early on the weekends and my family was sleeping in. My son was a baby still. And I told my wife, I'm going to do Lyft driving, right? So this was just some random thing I did. And I would go out early in the mornings. And this is when I lived in Arizona, and I'd be in the Phoenix area, and I would meet people that were in town for and multiple conventions that weekend.
Wow.
And what's funny is what I was trying to get to was like, some of the things that it was for was something you would never think of. So I was once giving somebody a ride, and I'm like, oh, so why are you in town? The lady was like, oh, I'm here for a tractor buying seminar or something. And then somebody else is like, oh, I'm here for some comic book convention. I'm like, I had no idea these things were going on, 15 minutes away from where I lived. So yeah, and again, going back to those themes, hey, we're having a country music night. If there's like some kind of farming convention going on or something, you know what I mean? Find out what's in town and know what's around you and know how you can satisfy those customers.
And Orly, I know I've mentioned this probably on one of our previous episodes, but when it comes to stuff like that, to be top of mind, you are able to, like you said, you had no idea these things were going into town until you had a writer that said, hey, this is going on. Make sure that you are, not only having that relationship with the conventions that are going on in town, but you're also keeping your website up to date. We had a super event one time come in. They were there for a seminar. It was an entire group of German pharmacists that were having a convention in my city. It was a phenomenal event, and we pulled out all the stops for them. We brought in the German beer. We put our scoring down in German so they felt very much at home. We played German music. We had so much fun, but it was a great event, and we would have never known about it had we not had an affiliation with our conventions bureau. So,
who doesn't know about the German pharmaceutical convention? I thought everybody did.
I was just not in tune with things. But the other thing I want to add is also be in tune with what's going on in social media, because I'm telling you, there are some really fun things. And I know everybody's not into TikTok, and TikTok has some downside, but there are some really fun things trending in TikTok and other social media platforms that you can certainly hop onto too and have some fun with it. So don't just discount that. Think about that. That's also part of staying in tune with what's going on, right?
Yeah.
You just never know. You just absolutely never know. But I think, Orly, if I had to say, I would think that you are in tune with what's going on. So
yeah,
I'll give you that.
I am.
I'll give you that benefit of the doubt. So, well, listeners, thank you for being a part of today's episode of Seeds of Success. With decades of industry experience, we are honored to share ideas, strategy, and trends designed to help entertainment centers like yours thrive and grow. Together, we're planting seeds for a stronger, more successful future, no matter what's going on in the world. Share this podcast with your team and industry friends, because the more seeds we sow, the greater the harvest. Until next time, let's continue to build success, one happy guest and one incredible experience at a time.